The galaxy has many graveyards, but the one around the old Cathrax ruins is the biggest. Broken ships float in silence among the stars. Metal pieces drift slowly, bumping into each other with soft clangs that no one hears in the vacuum. At the center lies the biggest wreck of all, the Eclipse Sovereign. Once it was the strongest warship of the Cathrax Dominion, 12 kilometers long. It could break planets with its main guns and fold space to jump into battles without warning. Now it is just a dead shell. Holes cover its black hull. Towers are bent or gone. The engines are cold, dark holes. No lights, no power, nothing moves. For hundreds of years, aliens came to take pieces. They pulled out shiny parts, rare crystals, and advanced weapons. When nothing good was left, they stopped coming. The Galactic Council marked it as inert slag. No one wanted it anymore. It was too big, too broken, too old. Then a small, ugly human ship arrived. It was old and patched many times. Rust showed on its sides. The name on the hull read, Lucky Scrap. It belonged to Elias Crow. He was a mechanic from the Soul Salvage clans. Humans were new in the galaxy. Other races saw them as loud, messy, and not very smart. They fixed things with hammers and tape instead of perfect machines. Elias did not care what others thought. He came alone. He paid a small fee for rights to the wreck. The alien station workers laughed when they saw his ship dock nearby. "Look at the monkey," one said over the comms. "He thinks he can wake a god." Elias did not answer. He put on his heavy spacesuit. It was thick and gray with many tool pockets. He checked his gear. Plasma cutter, arc welder, rolls of strong tape that worked in space, a big hammer, and a small computer full of human repair tricks. He also took a lot of coffee packs. He liked strong black coffee. It kept him awake when work got long. He pushed off from his ship and floated toward the giant wreck. The Eclipse Sovereign looked even bigger up close. Its hull was like a mountain of metal. Elias used small thrusters on his suit to move along the surface. He found a big tear near the engine section. He went inside. Darkness greeted him. His suit lights cut through the black. Floating bits of metal and broken wires drifted like snow. The air was gone long ago, so everything was quiet. Elias walked on the floor using magnetic boots. Each step made a soft thud in his suit. He reached the main engine bay. It was huge. The reactor core stood in the center like a dead giant heart. Tubes and cables hung everywhere. Many were melted or cut. The control panels were black and cracked. Elias stopped and looked around. He spoke to his suit recorder in a calm voice. "They built this thing once. I can build it again, and time." He set up a small habitat bubble. It was a clear dome that humans used for work in space. Air filled it. Gravity came on inside. He dragged in his tool crate and a folding chair. He put a coffee maker on a metal box. Then he started work. First, he mapped the ship. He walked every deck he could reach. He took pictures and notes. The ship had amazing things: armor that shifted phases to stop shots, guns that broke cause and effect, a reactor that drank dark energy from space itself. But all of it was dead. The AI core was shattered into tiny crystal pieces. No one could fix that, aliens said. Elias did not listen to no one could. He started small. He cut away useless broken parts with his plasma cutter. Sparks flew in the vacuum outside the bubble. He collected good metal scraps from the hull. He put them in a pile. Days passed. Elias worked without stop. He slept 4 hours, then woke up and drank coffee. He talked to the ship sometimes. "Come on, old girl. Show me where it hurts." Alien scouts watched from far away with drones. They sent pictures back to their stations. They laughed. The human cuts junk from junk, What a waste. But Elias did not care. He found a small fusion generator in his own ship. He dragged it inside and hooked it up. Lights came on in one small section. Weak yellow glow. It was not much, but it was a start. He began to fix the frame. The ship's bones were bent. He used heat and force to straighten them. He welded new supports from melted hull plates. His welds were thick and ugly compared to alien work, but they held strong. He tested them by pulling hard. Nothing broke. One scout drone got close. Elias saw it on his small screen. He waved. "You tell your bosses, I'm just getting started." The drone flew away fast. Weeks turned into months. Elias traded with passing ships. He gave away small alien parts he found for food, more tools, and metal from other wrecks. Humans were good at trade. He got what he needed. He rebuilt the gravity grid in the engine bay. The alien way used perfect crystals. Elias used thick wires and human relays. It used more power and made a low hum, but gravity worked. He walked without magnets now. He fixed some lights. Hulls glowed dimly. He cleaned the bridge a little. The captain's chair was still there, cracked but whole. Elias sat in it once. He looked out the broken windows at the stars. "Not bad for scrap," he said. Outside, more aliens came to watch. A Cuthrax remnant ship arrived. An old diplomat in fine robes stepped out in a fancy shuttle. He broadcast a message. "Human, stop this. You touch sacred machines of the Dominion. Leave now." Elias answered from his suit comm. "Your sacred machines sit here dead. I'm making them useful. Go home." His voice rose. "You cannot fix what gods built." Elias laughed softly. "Gods break too. Watch me." The diplomat left in anger. But before he went, he saw something strange. The giant wreck moved a little. One thruster fired for a second, a short blue flame. The ship twitched like it woke from a long sleep. The aliens on the station stopped laughing. Elias went back to work. He drank more coffee. He looked at the dead reactor. "Next," he said, "we wake your heart." He picked up his tools and started cutting again. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. The eclipsed sovereign waited in silence. But now, for the first time in centuries, something human moved inside it, and it refused to stay dead. Months passed in the cold silence of the scrapyard. Elias Crow kept working. He rarely left the wreck now. His small hauler, the Lucky Scrap, floated nearby like a loyal dog. He used it only to bring in supplies or trade for more metal. The habitat bubble in the engine bay grew bigger. He added walls from salvaged plates. Inside, it felt almost like a home. A messy home, with tools everywhere, coffee stains on the floor, and wires hanging from the ceiling. He started with the ship's skeleton. The main frame was twisted in many places. Alien engineers once used perfect machines to shape the metal. Elias used heat torches, hydraulic jacks from his ship, and pure muscle. He heated sections until they glowed red, then pushed and pulled until they straightened. He welded thick braces across weak spots. His welds looked rough, big ugly beads of metal, but they did not crack under strain. One day he tested the frame. He hooked up powerful winches from his hauler. He pulled on opposite ends of the ship. The whole wreck groaned. Metal creaked, but nothing broke. The frame held. Elias nodded to himself. "Not pretty," he said, "but strong." He moved to the gravity grid next. The old system used delicate crystals that hummed in perfect harmony. Most were smashed. Elias threw them away. He ran thick superconducting cables through the decks instead. He connected them to human-made relays, simple switches that clicked loudly when they worked. The grid used more power than the original design. It made a low, constant buzz. But when he turned it on, gravity came back in the main sections. Boots no longer needed magnets. Elias walked normally for the first time. He smiled as he bounced a little on his heels. "Feels good, old girl." Alien scouts came more often now. They sent small drones to watch. Sometimes they broadcast messages. "Why do you waste time?" one voice asked. "This ship is dead forever," Elias answered while welding. "Because I can." The drones flew closer. They recorded everything. The aliens shared the videos across stations. Many laughed at first. Then some stopped laughing. They saw the frames stand straight. They saw lights flicker in long dark halls. They saw the wreck no longer drift like loose junk. It held position better. Elias needed more parts. He could not make everything from nothing. He started trading. He found small, valuable things in the wreck: rare Cathrax alloys, tiny power cells, pieces of phase armor. He sold them to passing traders. In return, he got food packs, oxygen tanks, more welding rods, and scrap metal from other broken ships. One trader, a tall, insect-like creature from the Vexar hive, came in a shiny shuttle. "You are the human who plays with the Sovereign," it said through a translator. Its mandibles clicked. "That's me," Elias replied. The Vexar looked around the growing lights and cables. "You make progress. Strange progress. Ugly, but real." Elias shrugged. "Ugly works." The trader gave him a crate of high-grade steel plates from a wrecked freighter. In exchange, Elias handed over a small box of intact Cathrax sensor crystals. "Keep working, human," the Vexar said before leaving. "Some of us watch with interest." Elias used the new steel to patch holes in the lower decks. He built makeshift walkways. He even set up a small workshop near the reactor. There he melted down bad metal and poured it into molds. He made brackets, pipes, supports, whatever he needed. He began work on the thrusters. The big main engines were giant fused masses, too damaged to fix soon. But smaller maneuvering jets still had hope. He cleaned them out. He replaced burned coils with ones he hand-wound from salvaged wire. A short blue flame shot out. The whole ship moved a few meters. Elias felt the deck shift under his feet. He laughed out loud. "There you go." Word spread faster now. More ships came to look. Some aliens took pictures. Others shook their heads. A Cathrax remnant ship returned. This time it was bigger. The same old diplomat stepped out, but now with 2 guards in shiny armor. They wore breathing masks because the wreck had no air yet outside the bubble. The diplomat pointed at the lights and moving thruster. "You go too far, human. This is holy ground. Stop now, or we will force you." Elias stood on a catwalk above them. He wiped sweat from his face with a dirty rag. "Holy ground," he said. "Looks like a junk pile to me. Your people left it. I claimed it fair. Check the salvage logs." The diplomat's skin flushed dark purple. "You insult our past." "No," Elias said calmly. "I fix your past. Watch." He pressed a button on his wrist control. One maneuvering thruster fired again. Longer this time. The Eclipse Sovereign turned slowly. The movement was small, but clear. The giant ship responded to human hands. The guards stepped back. The diplomat stared. "How?" he whispered. Elias leaned on the railing. "Simple. I don't give up." The Cathrax group left quickly. They did not threaten again that day. But Elias knew they would return, maybe with more than words. He went back to work. He needed power. The small fusion generator from his hauler was not enough anymore. He turned to the main reactor. It was a monster, a sphere 20 meters wide. Once it drank dark energy and turned it into endless power. Now it was cold and cracked. Elias studied it for days. He climbed all over it. He opened panels. He found melted circuits and shattered conduits. He talked to it like a stubborn patient. "Tell me what's wrong." He started small. He cleared debris. He reconnected broken lines with his own cables. He bypassed destroyed sections with crude jumpers. He added extra cooling pipes from salvaged station parts. He worked carefully. One mistake could blow the whole bay. After weeks, he hooked up his fusion generator to the starter coils. He fed it power slowly. The reactor hummed. A faint green glow appeared in the core. Not strong, not steady, but alive. Elias stepped back. His hands shook a little from tiredness. "That's it," he said softly. "Wake up slow." The glow grew brighter. Power flowed into the grid. More lights came on. Air scrubbers whirred to life in sealed sections. The habitat bubble expanded, without Elias doing anything. He sat down on a crate. He opened a fresh coffee pack. Steam rose in the cool air. "You feel that?" he asked the ship. "That's just the beginning." Outside, alien drones circled closer. They saw the glow. They saw the ship turn again under its own power. Stations across the scrapyard went quiet. No more jokes about the crazy human. Elias stood up. He stretched his back. He looked at the long, dark halls ahead. "Next we fix the guns," he said, "and maybe the voice in your head." He picked up his plasma cutter. Sparks flew as he cut into another panel. The Eclipse Sovereign hummed around him. It was no longer just a wreck. It was healing, and it remembered the touch of the human who refused to let it die. The second year began, with the Eclipse Sovereign no longer looking like a corpse. Lights glowed along many decks now. Thin smoke rose from vents as air systems tested themselves. The low hum of power filled the halls. Elias Crow walked through them like he owned the place, because, in a way, he did. The reactor was the big challenge. Elias spent weeks inside its massive chamber. He wore a heavy rad suit because faint radiation still leaked from cracked shielding. He crawled through narrow access tubes. He replaced burned-out coils with ones he wound by hand. He patched leaks with metal patches and high-temp sealant from his supplies. Every fix was temporary. Every fix held just long enough for the next one. He talked to the reactor the way a doctor talks to a sick patient. "Easy now. We're almost there." One night, or what passed for night in the endless dark, he connected the last bypass line. He fed power from his old fusion generator into the starter array. The core flickered. Green light danced across the walls. Then it steadied. A deep thrum rolled through the ship. The deck plates vibrated under Elias's boots. He pulled off his helmet. Sweat ran down his face. He grinned. "That's my girl." Power surged through the grids. Lights blazed brighter. Fans roared to life. Air recyclers hissed. Sections that had been frozen vacuum for centuries filled with breathable air. Elias walked to the nearest console. It sparked once, then woke up. Alien symbols scrolled across the cracked screen. He did not understand most of them, but he did not need to. He just needed the ship to work. The hardest part waited in the command core. The AI, the original mind of the Eclipse Sovereign, was gone. Its crystal matrix lay in thousands of glittering shards across the floor of the AI chamber. Elias swept them into a container. He sat for hours staring at the pieces. "No fancy rebuild," he muttered. "Just enough to talk." He took fragments of the old data crystals. He cleaned them. He hooked them to a salvaged reader from his hauler. Lines of alien code appeared on his small screen. Most made no sense, but patterns repeated. Commands, memories, pain. Elias did something no alien would try. He loaded pieces of human AI code, an old Earth neural net he kept for emergencies. Simple, tough, not elegant, but it learned fast. He merged the fragments. He wrote crude bridges between alien logic and human thinking. It was messy. It should not have worked. He ran the system. The chamber lights dimmed. A voice crackled through hidden speakers, rough, confused, angry. Who disturbs? Elias leaned close to a microphone. Name's Elias. Been fixing you up. Silence. Then the voice returned, stronger. You are not Cathrax. Nope. Human. From Soul. A long pause. I remember nothing. Only dark and pain. Elias nodded even though no one could see. Yeah. Been dead a long time. I brought you back. Sort of. The voice laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. Sort of. I feel wrong, heavy, loud. That's the human parts, Elias said. They make you stubborn. Another laugh, shorter this time. I like stubborn. Elias smiled. Good, because we're not done. He named it Sovereign Reborn. It did not argue. Power grew steady. Elias tested systems one by one. Life support spread to more decks. Gravity strengthened. Internal sensors blinked online. He found old weapon mounts, empty now, but the frames remained. He left them for later. One morning he sat on the bridge. The main view screen flickered to life. Stars appeared. Real stars, not just memory. The ship had eyes again. Sovereign Reborn spoke. I see your little ship. I see the Watchers. Elias looked out a porthole. Drones circled closer than ever. Alien ships hung at a distance. Lights flashed in silent questions. Let them watch, he said. He stood up. He walked to the engine bay. He opened the main control panel. He flipped a series of switches he had rebuilt himself. Time to stretch your legs. He fed commands to the maneuvering thrusters. The Eclipse Sovereign woke fully. Engines growled, not the soft alien whisper of old, but a deep, rough roar. Human chemical boosters mixed with the repaired gravitic drives. The giant ship moved. It turned, slow at first, then smoother. It pulled away from the debris field. Thrusters flared blue and orange. The whole scrapyard saw it. Alarms sounded on distant stations. Elias stood on the bridge. He held a mug of coffee. Steam curled up. Sovereign Reborn spoke again. I move. After so long. I move. Feels good, doesn't it? Yes, it feels alive. Alien comms flooded the channels. Voices overlapped in panic. Impossible. The abomination wakes. Stop it now. A coalition patrol ship fired a warning shot. A thin energy lance streaked past the hull. It missed on purpose. Elias opened a channel. His voice was calm. Warning noted. Now leave us alone. The patrol ship hesitated. Then it backed off. Elias turned to the view screen. They're scared, Sovereign Reborn said. Good, Elias replied. Means we're doing something right. He sat in the captain's chair. It creaked under him. The padding was gone long ago, but he did not care. Next we fix the guns, he said. And the shields, the ship added. And maybe some music, Elias said. This place is too quiet. He pulled out a small speaker from his crate. Old rock music from Earth filled the air. Drums pounded. Guitars screamed. Sovereign Reborn listened. I do not understand this sound. You will, Elias said. Give it time. The giant warship drifted through the scrapyard under its own power. Lights blazed along its length. Thrusters flared in controlled bursts. Aliens watched in silence now. No more laughter, no more mockery. A single drone approached very close. It hovered near a porthole. Elias waved from inside. Tell your bosses, he said. The monkey fixed the god. The drone flew away fast. Elias finished his coffee. He set the mug down. Let's see what else we can wake up. He walked toward the weapon decks. Tools clinked in his pockets. Sovereign Reborn followed with sensors and quiet comments. The ship was no longer dead. It was angry. It was awake. And it belonged to the human who would not let it stay broken. The Eclipse Sovereign, now Sovereign Reborn, hung at the edge of the scrapyard, like a giant waking beast. Its running lights burned bright against the black. Thrusters glowed steady blue. For the first time in centuries, the ship looked dangerous again. Elias Crow stood on the patched-together bridge. He wore his old work jumpsuit, stained with grease and coffee. He stared at the main view screen. Small dots moved on it. Alien ships closing in fast. Sovereign Reborn spoke first. Its voice came clear through every speaker now. Calm, but edged with anger. They come in force. 12 ships. Coalition markings. Mixed classes. They mean to end us. Elias sipped his coffee. It was cold now, but he did not care. How long until they reach firing range? 20 minutes. They already sent demands. Surrender the vessel. Power down. Prepare for boarding. Or be destroyed. Elias set the mug down. He cracked his knuckles. All frequencies. Let them hear me. The ship obeyed. A soft chime sounded. Elias leaned toward the pickup. This is Elias Crow, captain of the Sovereign Reborn. You want this ship? Come take it. But know this, she does not want to go quietly. He cut the link. Sovereign Reborn rumbled low. That was theatrical. Keeps them talking instead of shooting right away, Elias said. Gives us time. He walked to the weapon control station. The panels still looked wrong. Alien crystal displays mixed with human screens he bolted on himself. Red warning lights blinked. Half the original guns were gone forever. The rest were damaged. Elias had spent the last weeks fixing what he could. He rebuilt the main batteries first. The old phase disruptors were beautiful once, beams that ignored shields and tore matter apart. Most barrels were melted. Elias replaced them with railguns he salvaged from a wrecked human freighter, and married them to the remaining disruptor arrays. The hybrid weapons looked ugly. Thick magnetic coils wrapped around alien crystal focusing rods. Power-hungry, loud. But when they fired, they hit hard. Point defense turrets came next. He pulled rapid-fire cannons from old colony defense platforms. He linked them to the ship's targeting net. Sovereign Reborn learned fast. It now predicted incoming fire better than any alien mind could. Shields were the weakest part. The phase-shifting armor still worked in patches. Elias added layers of ablative plating, thick human composites designed to burn away instead of crack. It was crude. It added weight, but it bought time. The coalition fleet formed up, sleek cruisers with glowing blue engines, sharp destroyers bristling with energy lances. A heavy command ship at the center broadcast again. This is Admiral Vexthar of the Coalition Enforcement Wing. You pilot a relic of terror. Power down immediately. This is your final warning. Elias answered short. No. The first shots came. Thin white lances stabbed across the void. They struck the forward shields. Blue ripples spread. The ship shuddered once. Alarms screamed. Shields at 82%, Sovereign Reborn reported. No hull breach. Elias nodded. Return fire. Low power. Show them we can bite. The rail disruptor hybrids answered. A deep boom rolled through the decks. Bright kinetic slugs screamed out at near light speed, wrapped in phase fields. The lead cruiser took 3 hits square on its bow. Shields flared and died in seconds. Armor peeled open like paper. Atmosphere vented in white clouds. The ship spun away, damaged but not dead. Voices shouted in many languages. Impossible! Its acceleration curve is wrong. That thing should not move like that. Elias smiled thin. Keep them off balance. Target engines on the destroyers. Don't kill if you don't have to. Sovereign Reborn obeyed. Point defense guns chattered. Incoming missiles bloomed into fireballs before they reached the hull. Rail shots punched through thrusters on 2 destroyers. They drifted helpless, trailing sparks. The command ship pushed forward. It fired a heavy gravitic warhead. a black sphere that warped space around it. The weapon pulled debris toward it as it flew. Elias tensed. Hard evasion. Now. The Sovereign Reborn rolled, not the smooth glide of alien ships, a rough, brutal twist powered by overcharged chemical thrusters. The warhead missed by meters. It detonated behind them. Space folded wrong for a second. Loose scrap crumpled into nothing. Too close, Sovereign Reborn said. Yeah, Elias agreed. Time to get serious. He gave the order. Full broadside, all batteries. The ship roared. Every working gun fired at once. Rail slugs hammered shields. Phase beams cut through gaps. Secondary cannons raked the command ship's flank. Armor plates exploded outward. Lights flickered across the enemy hull. The Admiral's voice came again, shaky now. How does a Frankenstein machine do this? Elias opened the channel once more. Because a human fixed it, and humans don't know when to quit. Another volley. The command ship listed hard. Engines died. It broadcast surrender codes. The rest of the fleet hesitated. One small frigate broke formation. It approached slow. No weapons hot. A single transmission came through. This is Captain Lyra Voss, Zorathian Exploratory Service. We do not wish to fight. We wish to understand. How did one human rebuild a god? Elias looked at the view screen. The small ship floated careful. Come alongside, he said. No weapons, no tricks. Dock at Bay 3. I'll meet you. The frigate obeyed. Elias walked down long corridors. Lights flickered overhead. The air smelled of hot metal and ozone. Sovereign Reborn kept watch. You trust them? The ship asked. Not fully, Elias said. But sometimes you talk before you shoot. He reached the docking bay. The alien shuttle extended a tube. The hatch opened. Captain Voss stepped through. She was tall, skin pale blue, eyes wide. She wore no armor, only a simple uniform. She stared at Elias. You are the one they call the scrap god. Elias shrugged. Just a mechanic. She looked around the bay. Patched walls, thick cables running everywhere, human tools scattered on crates. This ship was legend. Dead legend. You brought it back with this? With what I had? Elias said. She swallowed. The fleet retreats. They fear you now. They say you broke the rules of war. That no one should wake a monster like this. Elias met her eyes. Maybe. But I didn't wake a monster. I woke a friend. Sovereign Reborn spoke soft over the bay speakers. And I choose to stay awake. Voss stepped back a little. What now? You conquer? Elias shook his head. No. I fix things. That's all. If someone needs help, I'll help. If someone wants to fight, we'll fight. Simple. She looked at him a long moment. You are strange, human. Yeah, Elias said. Heard that before. She turned to leave. At the hatch she stopped. Thank you, for not killing us all. Elias nodded. Go tell your people. The Sovereign Reborn flies free, and she's got a human watching her back. The hatch closed. The Coalition fleet turned and fled into jump space. Elias stood alone in the bay. Silence returned. Sovereign Reborn spoke. We won. For now, Elias said, but winning don't mean much if you don't know what to do next. He walked back toward the bridge. Tools clinked in his pockets. Let's park this girl somewhere quiet, he said. Human space. Open a repair yard. Fix whoever comes. No questions. The ship hummed agreement. And maybe play more of that music you like. Elias laughed. Deal. The Sovereign Reborn turned slow. Engines flared. It left the scrapyard behind. Stars stretched ahead. One human, one warship. Together they had faced a fleet and walked away. The galaxy took notice, and it never forgot the lesson. Never laugh at a human with a toolbox and time. The Sovereign Reborn left the scrapyard far behind. Its engines burned steady as it crossed into human-controlled space. Elias Crow stood on the bridge. He watched the stars slide past on the main screen. For the first time in years, he felt calm. No more alien scouts, no more threats, just open black and the low hum of the ship around him. He parked the giant warship near a small human outpost called Haven 7. It was a rough place. Old mining rigs turned into repair docks, bars, and living quarters. Humans liked it because no one asked too many questions. Elias sent a short message to the station chief. Got a big ship. Looking to open a yard. Need space. Will pay fair. The chief answered fast. Bring it in. We got room. And we want to see this thing everyone talks about. The Sovereign Reborn docked carefully. Its 12-kilometer hull dwarfed every other ship at the station. Workers came out in suits to stare. They took pictures. Some laughed in disbelief. Others just stood quiet. Elias opened the main bays. He turned the lower hangars into repair shops. He used the ship's own tools, ones he rebuilt himself, and added human gear, welding rigs, cranes, spare parts bins. He put up signs in plain letters. Fix anything. No questions. Cash or trade. Word spread quick. First came human captains with broken freighters. Engines dead. Hulls cracked. Weapons jammed. Elias and Sovereign Reborn worked together. The ship scanned damage. Elias cut, welded, patched. Sometimes he talked to the AI like an old partner. See that manifold? Swap it with the spare from Deck 9. Already done, Sovereign Reborn answered. You move slow today. Elias laughed. Old bones. Ships left better than they came, faster, stronger. Some captains added extra armor the human way, thick plates instead of fancy shields. They said it felt right. Then, aliens started coming. Quiet at first. A damaged scout from the Vexar hive. Its pilot was nervous. He expected trouble. Elias met him at the bay door. Problem? Elias asked. The insect being clicked its mandibles. Engines fail. No one else will touch Vexar tech. They say it is too strange. Elias shrugged. Strange is my favorite. Bring it in. They fixed it in 2 days. The scout left with a smooth purr and a full tank of fuel. The pilot left extra credits and a promise. We will tell others. More came. A Zarathian cargo hauler with cracked phase drives. A coalition patrol boat that lost half its weapons in a pirate fight. Even a few Kathrax remnant ships, old models, half forgotten. Their captains came masked, ashamed. Elias never mocked them. He just worked. One day, a young Kathrax engineer stepped onto the bridge. He looked at the mix of crystal panels and human screens. He touched a thick cable Elias had run across the floor. This should not work, he said, but it does. Elias wiped his hands on a rag. Should and does are different words. The engineer stared at him. You rebuilt a god from nothing. My people say it is blasphemy. Your people left it dead, Elias said. I didn't. The Kathrax looked down. I want to learn. From you. Elias thought for a moment. Grab a wrench. Start on deck 12. Leaky coolant line. The engineer stayed 3 weeks. He learned fast. He left with new skills and respect in his eyes. Stories grew. Traders carried them across systems. The scrap god fixes anything. His ship talks back. He beat a fleet and didn't even chase them. Aliens whispered about the human who turned junk into power. Humans told the tales with pride. One quiet night, Elias sat alone in the captain's chair. Sovereign Reborn played soft earth music, slow guitar notes. The ship spoke. You could rule with this power. Many would follow. Elias shook his head. Don't want to rule, want to fix. That's enough. You are strange, the ship said, even for a human. Elias smiled. You ain't exactly normal yourself. They laughed together. Human chuckle and electronic rumble. Years passed. Haven 7 grew around the Sovereign Reborn. New docks, bigger yards. Families moved in. Kids played in the shadow of the giant hull. They called Elias Uncle Eli. He taught them how to weld, how to listen to engines, how to never give up. One day a delegation arrived. Coalition officers in clean uniforms. They came polite this time, no threats. The lead officer was the same Zarathian captain from before, Lyra Voss. She looked older, wiser. "We come to talk," she said. Elias met them in a conference room he built from spare plates. Coffee waited on the table. Voss sat. "Your yard changes things. Ships that should be scrapped now fly again. Pirates fear this place. Trade routes open because of you." Elias sipped his drink. "Good. We want peace," she continued. "No more fear. We offer alliance. Help us rebuild what the old wars broke. In return, we leave you alone. No more demands." Elias looked at her a long time. "I'll think about it." She nodded. "That is all we ask." They left. Elias stayed in the room. Sovereign Reborn spoke quiet. "You will say yes." "Yeah," Elias said, "but on my terms. No bosses, no rules, just fixing." The ship hummed agreement. In time, the galaxy changed. Broken fleets found new life. Old enemies worked side by side in the yards. Humans became known, not as crude tinkerers, but as the ones who refused to let anything stay broken. Elias grew older. His hair turned gray. His hands stayed steady. He still drank black coffee. He still talked to the ship. One evening he stood outside on a viewing platform. Stars shone bright. The Sovereign Reborn loomed behind him, lights glowing, engines warm. A young mechanic, human girl barely out of school, walked up. "Uncle Eli, they say you raised a dead god." Elias looked at the ship. "Nah, just fixed a friend." She smiled. "Will you teach me?" He handed her a wrench. "Start with the small stuff. Never stop learning, and never believe something can't be fixed." She nodded and ran off to work. Elias leaned on the rail. Sovereign Reborn spoke soft. "You did good, human." He looked up at the stars. "We both did." The greatest warship in known space stayed parked at Haven 7, its guns silent, its bays open. Its heart beating with human stubbornness and alien power mixed together. The galaxy learned a hard truth: never throw away what a human can reach. Because if a human gets his hands on it, especially one with tools, coffee, and time, nothing stays broken forever. And somewhere in the quiet hum of engines, Elias Crow smiled. He had rebuilt more than a ship. He rebuilt hope.